Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour. Trump issues new warning as more than 50 protesters are killed in Iran. Internet remains cut. Trump urges oil companies to invest in Venezuela, but Exxon says it is too risky. Prime Minister Modi to embark on a two-day visit to Gujarat state, offer prayers at Somnath Temple. And World Book Fair opens in New Delhi. This year's theme is dedicated to the Indian Armed Forces. Fresh protests erupted in Iran despite a nationwide blackout. Iranians took to the streets on Friday in what was the biggest movement against the government in more than 3 years. In Tehran's Saadatabad district, people banged pots and chanted anti-government slogans. The internet blackout has sharply reduced the amount of information flowing out of Iran. Phone calls to the country were not getting through. At least 17 flights between Dubai and Iran were cancelled. These protests followed large demonstrations on Thursday, which were the biggest in Iran since the 2022-23 protests. Meanwhile, in his first comments on the protests, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Friday called the demonstrators vandals and saboteurs. Khamenei, in a speech broadcast on state TV, vowed not to back down, accusing demonstrators of acting on behalf of opposition groups in the US and elsewhere. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued a statement on Friday saying that it would not tolerate the continuation of the current situation in the country. US President Donald Trump issued a fresh warning to Iran's leaders on Friday. He said that the situation in Iran is being monitored very closely. He hoped that the protesters remain safe.
We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared strong American solidarity with the Iranian demonstrators. In a post on X, Rubio said that the U.S. supports the brave people of Iran. The statement comes as Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei accuses foreign interference, including from the U.S., in fueling the unrest. Rubio's message underscores Washington, D.C.'s focus on Iran's human rights abuses and distinguishes between the regime and the citizens. The protests, now in their second week, have been widespread protests against Iran's leadership. Now, world leaders on Saturday condemned the killings and arrests of protesters in Iran. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of Australia, Canada and the European Union lauded the bravery displayed by the citizens of Iran and condemned the reported crackdown by the regime. The nations called on the Iranian government to end the use of aggressive force against protesters and preserve their right to freedom of expression. The leaders of France, Britain and Germany issued a joint statement on Friday condemning the killing of protesters and urged the Iranian authorities to refrain from violence. And expressing concern on the situation in Iran, the UN said it was disturbed by the loss of lives in the Iranian protests.
We're continuing to follow the situation extremely closely, very disturbed by the loss of life that we've seen. As in my answer to Deji, people anywhere in the world have a right to demonstrate peacefully, and governments have a responsibility to protect that right and to ensure that that right is respected.
And my colleague Jessica Taneja joins us live for more on the developments in Iran. Jessica, tell us more about the protests.
Well, Ramesh, this protest is slightly different from what we've seen in 2017, 2019, and then again in 2022, when you had women on the streets, not just in Tehran, but many other provinces, protesting against the illegal arrest of Mahsa Amini because of the religious atrocities that they claimed were being meted out at them. But this time around, this is about the economic woes. And according to some reports, which also includes the Iran News Wire, as well as other multiple sources, they seem to claim that this has spread to more than 180 city districts, as well as provinces, and it's quite widespread, where there is distress and anger among people ever since buying usual daily goods has become very difficult for people. So in order to sort of understand and to respond to the ground situation, the Iranian authorities, in the time that has gone by since the protest began, have handed out or at least made promises of giving $7 per month handout in order to sort of make people sort of more comfortable with the situation right now. But these protests, unlike before, have also been able to sort of give a very different wave to it, because if you see the current depreciation of the Iranian rial, which is now 1.4 million to a dollar, and also inflation at an all-time high, which is about more than 47%. All of these factors combined have led to a distress which is being felt amongst various factions and is bringing a kind of unity towards the kind of repression, especially when it comes to people's economic woes. And their inability to buy daily goods has certainly sort of given this uprising a very different mood and cause altogether.
Jessica, before I come to you, let me remind the viewers that the latest news coming in from Tehran is that authorities there are lifting the internet blackout. That's the news coming in. Right, they've, in fact, I stand corrected, they've denied reports of the internet blackout being lifted. So the ban on internet remains very much in place. Right, let me go across to my colleague Jessica one more time on this broadcast. Jessica, what do you make of the reactions coming in from leaders around the world?
Well, you've seen the reactions also, but Ramesh, the situation right now, as you were talking about the internet blockade, from what I've been able to gather and to tell our viewers a little bit about that as well, is that there were talks of Starlink, which is providing internet connection, but that has also been missing and not available to many of the human rights watch agencies who are there, being able to tell the world about what's happening, since there is a massive internet blockade and no information is being easily made available. But so far that Starlink connection has also sort of gone. So that perhaps has created more chaos than it did previously, because that is one option available. Now, talking about world leaders, you're right in pointing out that there have been various statements issued, and also bringing viewers up to speed about a joint statement which was also issued by leaders of UK, France, and Germany, which said that they strongly condemn the killing of protesters in Iran and are deeply concerned. You also heard from Maya Chalice, the EU foreign policy chief. She said the Iranian people are fighting for their cause. And she said, by ignoring their rightful demands, the regime shows its true colors. Certainly, there is a kind of census when it comes to protecting the interests of the people protesting on the streets of not just Tehran, but multiple places across Iran. And somehow, the Supreme National Council would have to do more to ensure than raising taxes and cutting a bit of spending on defense and focusing more on the economic woes, perhaps also because the level of sanctions that Iran sees right now is leading to these protests to become more widespread than they have seen in the past.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Jessica, thank you. Jessica Taneja reporting on the latest developments taking place in Iran. Right, shifting focus now, U.S. President Trump met with top executives of oil companies and urged them to invest billions of dollars into tapping the Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Trump said that oil companies would have security guarantees to operate in Venezuela while declaring Caracas was open for business. Executives from Chevron, ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Continental Resources were among the 14 oil multinationals at the White House meeting. European companies such as Repsol, Shell and Eni were also in attendance. U.S. officials said that they need to control Venezuela's oil sales and revenues indefinitely to ensure that the country acts in U.S. interests, including reducing corruption and drug trafficking. ExxonMobil chief executive Darren Woods said that Venezuela needs significant changes to its commercial and legal systems for it to become investable, adding that he expects the shift to happen under the Trump government.
One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us, and they do like oil, even though they produce a lot of it. But China and Russia and everybody else is able to go, and we'll be open for business almost immediately.
Meanwhile, a joint operation was carried out by U.S. and Venezuela to return the oil tanker Minerva to Venezuelan waters. The statement from the South American nation's oil ministry and state-run oil firm PDVSA said that the ship had taken off without payment or authorization by Venezuela's authorities. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright has said that Washington, D.C.'s interactions with Venezuela have been fantastic after President Maduro was captured.
Actually, it's been fantastic. You know, I think Venezuela, the interim authorities in Venezuela realized the game has changed. The way they ran the country before, the way things that worked before, huge corruption in the country, huge foreign powers, adversaries of the United States that had influence. The United States is now in a very strong position because we're controlling the sale of their oil.
And in more news from the U.S., in the state of Minneapolis, protesters gathered near a U.S. government building as tensions rose over the fatal shooting of a 37-year-old woman by an immigration customs enforcement official earlier this week. Minnesota officials said that they are launching their own criminal investigation after the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation took exclusive control of the case and blocked the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension from accessing scene evidence, witness interviews and other materials. The White House reposted a cell phone video from the immigration customs enforcement official involved in the shooting. Tensions between Minnesota state officials and Trump's government are likely to flare up. The state's leaders have criticized the move as a refusal to cooperate and an attempt to shut out local authorities from the inquiry, while Trump vowed to protect the immigration and customs enforcement and other law enforcement officers as tensions rose over the incident. In other news, President Trump is calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates at 10% starting 20th January, but he did not give details on how he plans to make companies comply. Trump had made the pledge during the campaign for the 2024 election, which he won. There have been some efforts in the U.S. legislature to pursue such a proposal, but they are yet to become law. Lawmakers from the opposition Democratic Party criticized Trump, a Republican, for not having delivered on that campaign pledge. American Express, Capital One Financial Corp, JP Morgan, Citigroup and Bank of America are some of major companies that issue credit card issuers. Last year, the Trump government moved to scrap a credit card late fee rule from the era of former President Joe Biden. The Trump government had asked a court to throw out a regulation capping credit card late fees at $8, saying that it agreed with business and banking groups that alleged that the rule was illegal. A judge subsequently threw out the rule. The U.S. Treasury Department has launched a federal investigation into alleged fraud involving social benefits programs in Minnesota, raising concerns over misuse of taxpayer funds. Speaking at a roundtable in Le Sueur, Minnesota, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said several money transfer firms have been notified that they are under investigation for suspected fraud linked to social benefits in the state.
I also provided updates on our investigation and announced several powerful new initiatives the Treasury will be undertaking to increase transparency and crack down on fraud in Minnesota. First off, we have followed the money and identified the money services businesses, MSBs, that have transferred taxpayer funds overseas. Our team at FinCEN has just provided formal notification to these businesses that they are under federal investigation.
Still to come on DD India Newshour. UN Security Council plans emergency meeting on Ukraine on Monday. Japan's Prime Minister Takaichi Sanai is considering a snap election in the coming weeks. And the crew aboard International Space Station could return to Earth next week.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, announced on Friday that her government was exploring diplomatic channels with the U.S. to re-establish embassies in both countries following the U.S. capture of President Nicolas Maduro.
Quiero referirme.
I want to address our Foreign Minister Yovan Gill's statement where he informed the country and the international community that the Venezuelan government and the United States government are exploring channels to open embassies with what objective? To retaliate the complaint against the aggression our people suffered? Because our women, our men, our girls, our boys, we are deeply impacted by an aggression of this nature. We are going to meet face to face in diplomacy and will go with our Bolivarian diplomacy of peace to defend Venezuela's peace, Venezuela's stability, the future, to defend our independence, and to defend our sacred and inalienable sovereignty.
The Venezuelan government statement came as U.S. State Department officials traveled to Caracas for technical and logistical assessments regarding a potential phased resumption of embassy operations. Trump said on Friday that Venezuela's release of political prisoners was a sign of seeking peace and that he had cancelled a planned second wave of attacks. He said that he is planning to meet representatives of Venezuela soon. President Trump called Nicolas Maduro's capture a miracle and said that South Americans are going to be happy about it.
Everyone's going to be happy in South America, everybody. What we've done is, some people would say it's a miracle, actually, what we've done. And Venezuela's happy. I think they're all going to be happy. Thank you very much, everybody.
President Trump also reiterated that the U.S. needs to own Greenland to prevent Russia or China from occupying it in the future. His repeated statements have deepened the divide between Trump and European leaders.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Meanwhile, Denmark's defense ministry on Friday issued a warning saying that its soldiers would take up the fight immediately and open fire without awaiting orders from their commanders if anyone were to invade Danish territory. The statement from Denmark comes as the 1952 directive, one from the Cold War era, explicitly states that troops must shoot first without waiting for commands in case a foreign force threatened a Danish territory. In the meantime, Denmark and Greenland's envoys to Washington, D.C. have begun a vigorous effort to urge U.S. lawmakers as well as key Trump government officials to step back from Trump's call for a takeover of the strategic Arctic island. A demonstration was held in Panama City's Avenue of the Martyrs reject security policies signed with the U.S., coinciding with the commemoration of the 9th January 1964 uprising. The group warned that U.S. intervention in Venezuela and the arrest of its sitting president served as an international alarm that could happen in Panama, noting that recovering exclusive use of the Panama Canal had been declared a U.S. interest. The 9th January date commemorates the 1964 flag riots when Panamanian students were killed during protests demanding sovereignty over the Panama Canal zone, which remained under U.S. control until the canal's transfer to Panama in 1999. Tensions around the Ukraine conflict intensified further as the UN Security Council called an emergency meeting after fresh Russian strikes hit Kyiv, causing heating outages during winter. The Council will meet on Monday to discuss the situation in Ukraine after Russia launched strikes on the capital Kyiv, causing heating outages in the middle of winter, according to the body's revised schedule published late Friday. In an evening address on Friday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia fired a medium-range hypersonic Oreshnik missile late on 8th January at a target in Ukraine's Lviv region close to the border with NATO member Poland. He said that the strike was demonstratively close to the European Union and warned that it could pose risks to countries including Poland, Romania and Hungary. Meanwhile, Britain said that it would allocate $270 million to prepare for a possible deployment of troops to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. The move follows a declaration of intent agreed by the leaders of Britain, France and Ukraine. Britain's defense minister says that the funds would support vehicle upgrades, communications, counter-drone protection and troop readiness. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu said in an interview published on Friday that he hopes to taper off Israeli dependence on American military aid in the next decade. He says that Israel should not be reliant on foreign military aid but has stopped short of declaring a firm timeline for when Israel would be fully independent from the U.S. Netanyahu said he told U.S. President Trump during a recent visit that Israel very deeply appreciates the military aid that America has given it over the years. But here too, they've come of age and they've developed incredible capacities of their own. Israel's defense exports rose 13% last year with major contracts signed for Israeli defense technology, including its advanced multi-layered aerial defense systems. The Kurd-led Syrian Democratic Forces strongly denied Syrian government claims that the army had seized control of the last opposition-held pocket in Aleppo's Sheikh Maqsoud neighborhood. In a Saturday statement, the SDF called the military's assertion that it had completed a security sweep and now controlled 90% of the Kurdish majority district false and misleading. Continued heavy shelling and clashes were reported in the area with no signs of a full government takeover. Sheikh Maqsoud, long a stronghold of Kurdish forces allied with the People's Defense Units, remains a flashpoint amid Syria's shifting battle lines following recent regime advances in the northwest. Shifting focus to the Indo-Pacific now, Japan's Prime Minister Takashi Sanai is considering calling a snap election in the coming weeks to capitalize on strong public support for her government. The Takashi cabinet is enjoying an approval rating of around 70%. But despite that, her ruling bloc only has a slim majority in the lower and upper houses of parliament, hindering its ability to push through her ambitious policy agenda. Takaichi is considering dissolving the lower house at the start of a parliament session on 23rd January. Meanwhile, her Liberal Democratic Party and its coalition partner, the Japan Innovation Party, regained their lower house majority in November after 3 lawmakers joined the LDP. Takaichi hopes a bigger majority will help her implement her agenda of more proactive fiscal spending and stronger intelligence capacities. It may also help Takaichi break the deadlock in a spat with China. Australia declared a state of disaster after bushfires destroyed houses and razed vast belts of forest in the country's southeast. Temperatures soared past 40 degrees Celsius as a heat wave blanketed the state of Victoria this week, with hot winds fanning some of the most dangerous fire weather since the Black Summer bushfires of 2019-20. One of the most destructive bushfires ripped through almost 150,000 hectares near Longwood. Victoria's Premier Jacinta Allen on Saturday declared a state of disaster, giving fire crews emergency powers to force evacuations. Hundreds of firefighters from across Australia have been called in to help. U.S. Space Agency NASA's crew members aboard the International Space Station could return to Earth as soon as Wednesday. NASA and a private U.S. company, SpaceX, are targeting to undock the agency's SpaceX Crew 11 mission from the space station on Wednesday, depending on weather conditions. NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fink, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Kimiya Yui, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov will splash down off the coast of the U.S. state of California on 15th January. NASA on Thursday announced its decision to return the agency's SpaceX Crew 11 mission to Earth from the space station earlier than originally planned, as teams monitor a medical concern with a crew member currently living and working aboard the orbital laboratory, who is now reported to be stable. Right now, take a look at what else is making news around the world. In Benin, thousands of visitors from across the globe gathered in Ouida for Vodun Days, a 3-day celebration of the nation's spiritual and cultural heritage. The annual festival highlights Vodun, an ancient animist tradition rooted in nature and ancestral connections. In Nicaragua, authorities have detained at least 60 people accused of celebrating or showing support for the reported capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. President Daniel Ortega and Vice President Rosario Murillo, close allies of Maduro, ordered the crackdown. In Australia, Sydney sweltered under extreme heat on Saturday, with temperatures soaring past 40 degrees Celsius. Crowds flocked to the beaches to cool off, while authorities set up a mobile cooling hub in the city's central business district. The facility offered relief to the homeless and vulnerable residents. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2.0 kicks off in New Delhi. The budget session of India's parliament to begin from 28th January. And all the weather updates from India, more of that after the break.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse. Is the United States China's debt trap strategy? Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure. of every story that matters to you.
Every time they would say that your
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. Trump issues new warning as more than 50 protesters are killed in Iran. Internet remains cut. Trump urges oil companies to invest in Venezuela, but Exxon says it is too risky. And World Book Fair opens in New Delhi. This year's theme is dedicated to the Indian Armed Forces. Prime Minister Modi will attend the Somnath Swabhiman Parv in the state of Gujarat on Saturday. He will participate in the chanting of the Omkar mantra and thereafter view a drone show at the Somnath Temple. Siddharth Bharadwaj brings us this report.
Bharat is known for its rich cultural and spiritual legacy, its diversity, and the timeless spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. I'm here on the sacred land of Somnath, right outside the Somnath Temple. This beautiful architectural marvel stands as a testament to zeal, grit, and unwavering spirit.
These walls tell thousands of stories of sacrifice, indomitable spirit, and the unbeatable courage. Despite multiple invasions, the Somnath Temple stands tall. This is the story of undefeated civilizational strength, supreme devotion, and Bharat's enduring resilience. Year 2026 is of immense significance for the Somnath Temple. It marks 1,000 years since the first attack on this great shrine. In January 1026, Mahmud of Ghazni launched a barbaric invasion on the temple. Several foreign invaders attempted to destroy Somnath in the years that followed. But after every attack, the great men and women of Bharat rebuilt and rejuvenated the temple with their unshakable resolve, keeping the flame of devotion and civilizational spirit alive. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Somnath in Gujarat on 10-11 January 2026 to participate in Somnath Swabhiman Parv. He will also take part in Omkar mantra chanting and witness a drone show at Somnath Temple. On January 11, the Prime Minister will participate in Shaurya Yatra and address a public gathering. Somnath Swabhiman Parv honors the supreme sacrifice of countless warriors of Holy Motherland who stood against the barbaric attacks on Somnath Temple, the soul of Bharat and symbol of national pride. Somnath represents the victory of creation over destruction, victory of compassion over cruelty, victory of humanity over brutality, and stands as a symbol of valor and pride.
Actually, it's nice to be here, and at least at this time, we got to know here that is our 1000th year after the formation of this temple. So it's already very glorious moment, I think, and the decorations and everything is splendid and everything. I think all the arrangements are also very nicely done. You can go in there, you can have the darshan. Very arranged and easily accommodated. Everything is quite nice here. I'm really honored that Mahadev has called us on this 1000th anniversary, because this is our first time in Ahmedabad only, and then Somnath here. And beautiful ocean, this beautiful, beautiful ocean, sparkling like a diamond. And I'm here for the meditation camp as well. We have no idea this is this time happening, so it isn't a coincidence, and we are thrilled and our heart is full that we are here. And because of Modi ji, we are able to see such beauty over here of flowers and everything. That's extremely beautiful and heart-building. I really loved it.
The incredible story of Somnath Temple continues to inspire millions at a time when the nation is moving towards its vision of Viksit Bharat.
Somnath is eternal. It's a powerful belief, an everlasting trust, and a source of strength for millions who arrive here every day. With camera person Vinod Kumar Oja, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for DD India in Somnath, Gujarat.
And Siddharth joins us live from Somnath. Siddharth, before we talk about the Prime Minister's engagements, tell us more about the Somnath Temple itself, its history and its significance as a symbol of the triumph of faith over adversity.
Oh, definitely. First of all, a very good afternoon to you, Ramesh. And, to begin with, let me just show you how beautiful the temple, Somnath Temple here on the sacred land of Somnath has been decorated. It looks like it's the brightest star in the entire universe. And activities and people coming here from all walks of life, from different parts of the country, not just from the country, but from across the globe as well, from all over the places. They have come here to actually witness the grandeur of the Somnath Temple. And let me just further request my camera person to actually show you these walls of the Somnath Temple. Since you talked about the significance and the history of Somnath Temple, Ramesh, these walls talk. These walls tell the tales of supreme sacrifice. These walls tell the tales of absolute resilience, the resolve, the valor, and the civilizational resilience. And also inspires us and gives us a message of never giving up. No matter how much you fail, no matter how much you fall, how many times you fall, but you stand up and then you conquer the world. And that's the message that this sacred lands gives us, the Somnath Temple gives us. For a fact that this temple was attacked nearly 17 times, Ramesh. And for the first time when it was attacked, it was in the year 1026 when Mahmud Ghaznavi attacked this temple. And the children of Bharat Mata, the people here, with their absolute zeal and grit and unwavering spirit, made sure that this temple was rebuilt, rejuvenated and reconstructed. And, generation after generation, this message was passed on to them every time the temple was attacked, every time it was reconstructed, rebuilt. And that is why the temple you can see behind me stands tall and rock solid. And this is the message it gives. It radiates positivity, and people here from all across the globe are coming to see blessings of Mahadev. This is a very special year, Ramesh, 2026. It was the first time, 1,000 years ago, the first attack happened on the Somnath Temple, like I just mentioned, in the year 1026. And also 75 years since the temple was opened for the devotees in the year 1951. So that way it's a very, very significant. And, this is coming at a time when Bharat is moving towards its vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, the year when we'll be celebrating the centenary of our independence, and we are expected to make everything under the sun. And today, when you look at the global world looks at us rather, and for collaborations, for partnerships, for trade, and India is progressing in every sector. You name the sector, and there. So that's the significance. And I also mentioned it earlier as well, and also now I will mention that Somnath, the sacred land, Somnath is a creation over destruction. Somnath is humanity over barbarity, and Somnath is compassion over cruelty, and as national pride and valor as well. Ramesh, this is the third day of the Somnath Swabhiman Parv, and this Parv honors the warriors and the people who sacrificed their lives in protecting the culture, our culture, and the ethos and principles of it, and who fought and sacrificed their life, and stood against the barbaric invasion of many foreign invaders who came in and tried to attacked the Somnath Temple. But those stories are just there on the footnotes of history. What remains is the Somnath Temple that's there behind me, standing tall, like I just mentioned, and rock solid on the shores of Arabian Sea. The shores also rose with the same intensity now as they used to before the first attack happened.
All right, we'll leave you there for now, Siddharth. Thank you. Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting there from Somnath. And staying in Gujarat, the state's Rajkot is gearing up to host a grand, vibrant Gujarat exhibition highlighting the industrial and export potential of Saurashtra and Kutch. The Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference exhibition will be held in Rajkot from 11th to 15th January and will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi. Spread over 26,000 square meters, the exhibition will feature more than 400 exhibitors from sectors such as agro-food processing, energy, engineering, defense, petrochemicals and logistics. More than 100 international buyers from 16 countries are expected to participate in it, with the event aimed at boosting exports from Saurashtra and Kutch. The budget session of India's Parliament will commence on 28th January and continue till the 2nd of April. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju announced that President Draupadi Murmu has approved the summoning of Parliament for the budget session, which as per norm will be held in 2 phases. The first phase of the budget session will conclude on 13th February, after which Parliament will adjourn for recess. The second phase will begin on 9th March and continue till the 2nd of April. The second edition of Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2026 kicked off in New Delhi. It brings together 3,000 young leaders from across India for discussions on nation building. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval addressed the opening plenary alongside Minister Mansukh Mandavia. Mr. Doval emphasized the timeless importance of strong decision-making. He said that even as India advances rapidly under Prime Minister Modi's vision, potentially on autopilot, the key question is who will lead a developed India with conviction and timely decisions. The event, organized by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, reinforces the government's commitment to fostering youth leadership, innovation, civic responsibility and ideas. Participants will engage in thematic discussions, competitions and interactions with icons, culminating with Prime Minister Modi's address on 12th January, which is celebrated as National Youth Day.
भारत जिस गति और जिस रफ्तार पर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी इसको ले आए हैं, ये एक ऑटो मोड में भी चलेगा और विकसित हो जाएगा। मैं छोटी सी बात कहना चाहता हूं, आप जब निर्णय लें तो आज के लिए नहीं, अपने आने वाले उस भविष्य के लिए निर्णय लें। दूरदर्शी भाव से निर्णय लें। आप सब लोगों में असीम संभावनाएं।
Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah inaugurated the Maheshwari Global Convention and Expo in the western city of Jodhpur on Saturday, one of India's largest socio-industrial gatherings of the Maheshwari community. Held over 3 days at the Polytechnic College campus, the Mega Expo spans around 250 bighas and features a massive 450-foot pillarless pandal accommodating 50,000 attendees. Thousands of industrialists, CEOs, startups and community members from India and abroad are participating in it. A major highlight is the lifelike replica of Kailash Mansarovar showcasing Mount Kailash, Lake Mansarovar and the 12 Jyotirlingas. The New Delhi World Book Fair is being organized by the National Book Trust in collaboration with the India Trade Promotion Organization. The fair is being held from 10th to 18th January at Bharat Mandapam. This year's theme is Indian Military History, Valor and Wisdom at 75, highlighting the courage, legacy and wisdom of India's armed forces. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said that the fair reflects the spirit of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's vision of national integration and nation building, where knowledge plays a central role in strengthening the nation.
देश देश में ज्ञान और रीडिंग की इस परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाते हुए इस वर्ष पुस्तक मेला की थीम भारतीय सैन्य इतिहास, शौर्य और विवेक 75 रखी गई है, जो हमें राष्ट्र निर्माण में शौर्य और विवेक जैसे मूल्यों को स्मृति याद दिलाती है। यह प्रदर्शनी राष्ट्र के सैनिकों के लिए समर्पित है।
For the first time, entry to the World Book Fair is completely free, aiming to encourage wider public participation and promote a culture of reading. The event has drawn over 1,000 publishers from 35 countries with around 3,000 stalls set up at the venue, offering a diverse range of books across genres. This year, Qatar is the guest of honor country, while Spain is the focus country, strengthening international cultural and literary exchange at the fair. Severe winter conditions and dense fog continue to impact northern India. India's weather agency expects the cold wave to persist in the national capital region. Meanwhile, shelter homes in New Delhi are providing vital food and warmth to the homeless.
A biting winter chill has tightened its grip over most of North India as icy winds, dense fog and plunging temperatures disrupt daily life across several states. According to the India Meteorological Department, cold wave conditions are likely to persist over parts of north and northwest India, including the Delhi NCR region, in the coming days. However, no severe cold wave warning has been issued so far. As the mercury drops, shelter homes across Delhi have become a lifeline for the homeless, offering warmth, food and protection from the relentless cold.
सर यहाँ पे हम लोगों को रहने के लिए सारी फैसिलिटी देते हैं जो हमारे पास होती है। खाना पीना, कंबल होता है, बेड होता है इनके लिए। बाकी इनके लिए तीन सुबह में चाय आती है, दिन में लंच आता है, रात में डिनर आता है। बाकी और भी जो लोग रोड पे सोते हैं उनको भी हम लेके आते हैं, रहने के लिए बोलते हैं। यहाँ पे आप गवर्नमेंट इनको फैसिलिटी दे रही है।
मेरे को सर यहाँ पे बेड भी मिल रहा है, खाना पीना भी मिल रहा है, सब चीज़ें यहाँ प्रोवाइड हो रही है मेरे को तीनों टाइम। नाश्ता वगैरह, चाय वगैरह सब कुछ मिल रहा है सर मेरे को।
Similarly, in Uttar Pradesh, winter conditions continue to disrupt daily life. A thick layer of fog covered Lucknow on Saturday morning, reducing visibility and intensifying the cold conditions. Dense fog also engulfed Agra, shrouding the Taj Mahal. The iconic monument seemed to vanish, depriving visitors of its famous sunrise view. Meanwhile, in the hill state of Himachal Pradesh, though cold weather has been disrupting daily life, the snowfall usual for this time of the year continues to elude most tourist spots. The lack of snow during this winter season has left many tourists disappointed who had come to cities like Shimla to experience the area transformed into a winter wonderland.
हम यहाँ पे सोचे थे कि बर्फ मिलेगी, बट यहाँ पे हमने देखा पानी जमा हुआ है, मौसम अच्छा है और हम बस यहाँ एंजॉय करने आए हैं। और ठंड तो है, अच्छी खासी है, बट एंजॉयमेंट हो रही है हमारी। एंड बर्फ नहीं है बस।
मौसम तो बस यहाँ पे क्या बताएं, बहुत ठंडा ठंडा है। हम तो यहाँ पे बर्फबारी के लिए आए थे, पर चलो यहाँ पे है धूप है, पर यहाँ नीचे इतना हमने देखा, यहाँ पे नीचे भी बर्फ काफी हुई है, पानी जमा हुआ है, पर चलो बहुत अच्छा है, मौसम बहुत ठंडा है। जिसके लिए आए थे वो तो मिल गया।
With temperatures remaining below normal and poor visibility across much of North India, people are preparing for more cold days as winter continues.
And Tapas Bhattacharya joins us for more. Tapas, tell us more. What's the Met Department saying? Will the cold spell continue for some more time?
Yes, we believe that today and tomorrow there is an orange alert that the Met Department has given, especially for the northwest part of the country, Delhi, Punjab, parts of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana also. So parts of the northwest part of the country will be under heavy cold wave conditions, and we believe that today and tomorrow, the minimum temperature will hover somewhere in the region of 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. For East and West Rajasthan, we've been told that the next 3 to 4 days will be more crucial. They have been given orange alert for the next 3 to 4 days. So we believe that the cold wave condition will prevail for the next 3 to 4 days in northwest part of the country. For Delhi and NCR, today and tomorrow will be crucial. The temperature may dip well below the 4.2 minimum temperature that we saw today. So that is one part of it. But after next 2 days, we believe there will be clear skies. We will see sun god peeping through, and things will improve then thereafter. So next 2 days will be crucial for Delhi NCR region. 3 to 5 degrees Celsius minimum temperature we are expecting in that region.
Right, so as Tapas is reporting, expect the cold wave to persist for some more time. We leave it there for now. Tapas, thank you. Tapas Bhattacharya reporting on the weather. Moving on, India's space agency ISRO is set to carry a student-built CubeSat aboard its rocket on 12th January. The mini satellite was developed by a team of school students from southern India.
A team of high school students from a private school in Hyderabad is set to make a major leap into space technology with their self-built CubeSat scheduled for launch aboard an ISRO rocket on January 12th. Developed under a program in partnership with a city-based space startup, the project involved students aged 12 to 15 working on a real-world space mission.
Sensors in here, microcontroller.
Our children have been working on this project along with this company called Take Me to Space for more than 2.5 years now. And the satellite is ready. It got tested. It's right now in Sriharikota, and we will all be witnessing this launch from the gallery of Sriharikota.
Me and my classmates have built a satellite which will be going to space from Sriharikota on ISRO's launchpad on 12th. It'll be going on a PSLV C-62. We're all feeling very proud that we get to be a part of this project. So I hope we succeed in this.
The initiative aims to equip students with advanced skills, introduce space studies early, and promote experiential learning.
How this helps is, it sort of enables the student to have a real life experience of the data. Instead of just reading it in their textbooks, now they can go online, access our data, and literally see the magnetic field, the accesses, the humidity, heat, temperature, etc. Now this really helps the students sort of expand their understanding of the concept, and we hope to inspire other adolescents also to sort of get into aerospace.
8 से हम लोग स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी और जो स्पेस स्टडीज़ है वो उनको स्टार्ट करते हैं स्कूल में, और धीरे धीरे वो लोग ये पढ़ते पढ़ते बच्चों ने ही ये डिसाइड किया कि उनको एक सैटेलाइट बनाना है, और अगर वो अपना सारा मन ध्यान लगा के वो मतलब एक्सपेरिमेंट करे और ऐसा कुछ बनाए उनके हाथ से, तो कोई भी स्टडीज बहुत इजी हो जाती है. ये सिर्फ बुकिश नॉलेज नहीं है, बट बहुत ही प्रैक्टिकल तरीका है उनको ये स्टडीज में इंटरेस्ट लाने के लिए.
As Hyderabad emerges as a hub for aerospace and space technology, the students' CubeSat marks a milestone in school-level innovation in India's space ecosystem.
01110.
And now to all the news from the world of sport. The second edition of Khelo India Beach Games will conclude today with a glittering ceremony in Diu after 6 days of enthralling action. Karnataka leads the medal tally with 3 golds, 2 silvers and 6 bronzes. They are closely followed by Tamil Nadu and Manipur. Nearly 1,300 athletes featured in the competition scheduled from 5th to 10th January, which aim to identify young talent, promote sports and fitness among youth. There were 6 medal sports: beach soccer, beach volleyball, beach sepak takraw, beach kabaddi, penchak silat and open water swimming, while Malakhamb and tug of war were non-medal events. In tennis, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka beat Carolina Muchova in straight sets to reach her 3rd Brisbane International final in a row, a week ahead of the Australian Open. Sabalenka looked in great touch against the Czech, who had won their last 3 meetings and went into the match as one of the few players with a winning record against Sabalenka. But the 27-year-old Belarusian showed her class and power as she broke Muchova once in each set to take the semi-final 6-3, 6-4. She is yet to drop a set in the tournament. Sabalenka said that it was an ideal preparation for the Australian Open, which begins in Melbourne on 18th January. And before we close, sequins dazzled and the spirit of the king reverberated through the streets as hundreds gathered in Australia to celebrate the legendary US singer Elvis Presley. Festival goers embraced the 2026 Love Me Tender theme, stepping out in a spectacular array of rhinestone jumpsuits and heart-themed outfits. Take a look. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks. I am Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.